Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another edition of Virtual Career Explorations. And this is our part 2. We're so excited. Welcome back, Miss Bateman, who blew us away with all her information about being an entrepreneur, being a kid, having a business. And we just had questions to kind of model through from other youth. So we will just love to continue learning. And I think that that's one of the most important things about our group. Thank you so much, Miss Bateman. And it's your floor. Thank you.
Why, thank you. I am so happy to be joining you all again. I hope everyone has been able to enjoy their day so far and enjoy their week. I know I am ready to share all that I have. And if there's something that you want to know that I don't know, I will find out. I will find the resource and I will let you know. So I'm super excited to be here. So just to share a little bit about me, my name is Tara Batemon. I am an educator at heart. One of the things that drives me with being an educator is I absolutely love to learn. Love it, love it, love it. It is one of my strengths. So in addition to loving to learn, I am excited and I thrive on when I can take what it is that I've learned and share it with others. I really like to liken myself as a sponge. Anybody familiar with the sponge? What it does?
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. Right,
Yes.
So you have a sponge. Yes, okay, thank you, TJ. So you have a sponge, right? And you have to what? You have to fill it with something, right? With water or some type of solution, but then you can't just leave it full. In order for the sponge to really be effective, you have to squeeze it, right? So that is me in terms of learning. I like to learn, gather the information, and then connect with people that I can then release and share it with them so that then they can go out and either share it with someone else or use it on their journey of life to help them be successful. So in a nutshell, that's what I do. I do that a few different ways. One is my day job is I am a professor at a local university. So I teach classes around business, around computer applications. So I'm also a Microsoft Office specialist for Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. I teach the freshman orientation classes and the career orientation classes. The other way that I am able to share is through my podcast called Teens Biz Talk podcast. Be sure to check us out on YouTube, on Podbean podcast platform. But that is the other place where I'm able to interview other teen entrepreneurs to find out what it is that they do, what drives them, how do they balance, right, school, life, and a business? How do they discipline themselves? How do they network, right? Those type of things that you need to do in business. It's done different today than it was back when I first started on my entrepreneurial journey, right? So, okay, I see Miss Adriana knows what I mean with that, right? So just being able to talk and then again, just share that information with other people who are interested in getting started, but maybe just don't quite know, right, what to do or which way to go. The other way that I share information are through different videos and courses that I do. So that is me and what I do in a nutshell and how I do it. So I am super excited today. I was given some topics that you all were interested in finding out about. Before I jump into the specific topics, I wanted to just chat a little bit about starting a business as a teenager, right? As a young person. So the first step, I have actually a guide that I wrote. It's called 5 Steps to Start a Business as a Teenager. So I just wanted to go over that briefly. Please, by all means, any questions, any comments, any thoughts, any knock jokes you might have, right? Just jump right in and and go ahead and share them as we go along. I want this to be a, conversation. Certainly want to be able to provide some information, but I really, really would love to hear your feedback, your questions, your ideas. All right. All right. So 5 steps to start a business as a teenager. Step 1 is before you even start, okay, you need to know that it's going to be work, right? There's no such thing as an overnight success, right? We might look at Amazon. Has anybody heard of the company Amazon?
I have.
Yes. Okay, great. So, Amazon is like everywhere, right? We see the vans everywhere. I think we just came off of Amazon Prime Day, right? They have expanded into areas of AWS, right? It's their web services that they offer to companies. So they do things both on the product side and on the service side. But they weren't always the Amazon that we see it today, right? Jeff Bezos started out with a thought, and he started out with a thought at a time that was not very popular, right? Selling books on the internet. Well, there were bookstores on just about every corner, right? So I can only imagine the amount of kickback that he received when he said, oh, this is what I want to do, right? But he started and he kept going and he kept going and he kept going. And now here we are, right? So it's going to be work. It's also going to be probably one of the most meaningful and important learning experiences in your life. Starting a business brings out so much of you that you don't even realize, right? It brings out aspects of grit and tenacity and perseverance that you didn't even know were there, right? So even just the process of going through starting a business is going to be awesome. You'll grow in different skills, time management, problem solving, critical thinking. So it's really going to be a great experience for you. And then third, businesses, especially teenage businesses, come in all shapes and sizes. All right. So don't feel like you have to, right, try to fit into a particular box. No. Do you want to start a food truck? Maybe you want to do that, right? You're interested in cooking and restaurant, but you don't want the typical type of restaurant. Start a food truck. Right? So just keep in mind, it doesn't have to be maybe what you see everyone else doing. If you have an idea for something, I say go for it. Definitely go for it. So that's step 1, what you need to think about before you even start. Step 2 is choosing your industry. So you're at this place where you're like, I want to have my own business. I kind of want to do my own thing. Okay, that's great. Some questions that you want to ask yourself to really be able to hone in on what it is you're going to do. What are you passionate about? Right? What are you good at doing? What are some services and products that you like to interact with? And then where can you make a difference and add value? All right. So again, use your creativity, use your imagination. But if you can focus in on those particular 4 questions, I really think that's going to help to guide you along the right path to be able to start at least that first business, right? You might continue on and start another and another and another, and that is great, fine, and amazing. But at least to get started on that one business, you want to think of those questions. All right, step 3 is building your business model. So there are 3 basic types of business models that you want to be thinking about. The first is services. So when you think about services, is anyone in the group really good at creating websites?
I can.
Yes. Okay, great, Davion. So that might be a type of business that you would want to start, and your business model would be services. Maybe you create websites for people, or you provide consultation on people that have existing websites and you see like, if you were to do this and then move this over here and then add this particular graphic, right? It might make it pop a little bit more, get you a few more visitors and customers. All right. So that is one type of business model. The second is merchandise. So that's selling actual things, right? So selling used clothes, right? A merchandise business would be like eBay or Poshmark. Anybody heard of Poshmark? Or Plato's Closet. Has anyone?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So that would be an example of a merchandise business model. And then the third type is manufacturing. So that's when you actually make something and then you sell it. So let's say you were good with like carpentry and you build birdhouses. Okay, and then you paint them and you sell them. That would be an example of a manufacturing business model. All right, so 3 basic models that you want to be thinking of. The first is services, the second is merchandise, and then the third is manufacturing. All right, any questions or thoughts so far? Is this tickling anyone's creativeness? Not yet? Okay, that's all right. We'll keep going.
The other ones, the questions were the hair salon, which is probably something that you would have brought up. And then
Okay.
I think that another person was doing a shoe design. I did hear that one too.
Shoe design. Okay, so the shoe design would fall under either the services or the manufacturing. So with the shoe design, are you looking to create and make your own shoes, or are you looking to maybe like if you go to Walmart and you just you know how they have just like the basic tennis shoes that kind of look like the Chucks, and then people will design them, right? They'll put I've seen pearls all over them, right? Or sometimes people will take them and they'll draw on them, right? I've seen like different anime on the sneakers. Which whoever's interested in shoe design, can you share with me just a little bit what you had in mind?
They're not here, but they are doing
okay.
buying it and drawing on them. Buying and
Okay.
just looking at their text. It's
Sure.
drawing.
Okay. All right, I'll make sure that I touch on that a little bit more on the details of that. The other thing that I had received, was there someone interested in a t-shirt business?
I have one already.
You do? Oh, how long have you had it?
Going on 2 years.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Congratulations. That is awesome. So I had some specifics around a t-shirt company. So I will get into that in just a moment. That is awesome. 2 years. Okay, so we have 2 more steps. And then I'll get into the other details that I had. So step 4, let's just do a quick recap before we do this step 4. Step 1 was talking about before you even start, right? You have to know it's going to be work. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a very meaningful experience in life. And teenage businesses come in all shapes and sizes. So think outside the box, right? Step 2 was choosing your industry. Asking yourself the questions, what are you passionate about? What are you good at doing? What are some services and products you like to interact with? And then where can you make a difference and add value? Step 3 was building your business model. 3 basic types of business models to consider: services, merchandise, and manufacturing. Right? Our last 2 steps. Step 4, get customers. Right? You can have this great product, this great idea, And if nobody is buying it, it's not really a business. And it's super frustrating. Been there. It's super frustrating. All right. So customers, brand awareness, right? Paying attention to what it is, people who are buying your service or product, people who are interested, what do they like? And then catering towards that. And then step 5, growth and momentum, right? So as your business does start to grow, you might be thinking, all right, I got this, right? Davion said he's had his business for 2 years. He may be like, I'm good. I'm so good. You want to not get settled, maybe it's the best word, in that, all right, I'm doing good. That's really good to celebrate your accomplishments, right? You do want to take some time and acknowledge how far you've come from where you started, but you want to be in this type of motion, right? Of moving forward. You want to be putting yourself in a position around other like-minded people who are also in business, right? Those people who can push you a little bit forward, right? Finding that person who's been in business for 5 years, spending some time with them to see how they were able to make it to their 5-year mark. All right. So those are the 5 steps to start a business as a teenager that I like to share with people. So now I want to get a little more detailed on some of the topics that you all might be interested in. And again, please, any questions, right? Just jump right in there. Any thoughts, any clarification that's needed, please let me know. All right, so particularly around having a t-shirt business. Davion, do you ever do any pop-ups for your
No.
business? No? All right. Have you thought about it?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Would you be okay sharing with us what's stopping you from trying that?
Time.
Got you. Got you. Well, that was one of the things that I had down that would be really, really helpful, in particular for a t-shirt brand, is to participate in some type of pop-up, especially now. Well, we're like in the summer at the time that we're recording this, but you know, you might have different festivals that are happening, but even thinking ahead, moving into the holidays, now that we're kind of opening back up again, kind of, sort of, people might be having, all right, so I'm about to date myself. In my time, we call them holiday bazaars. They're not called bazaars anymore though, but they are kind of called like just like a holiday market, right? Where someone may rent some space, or you might see it in the mall, right? And you have certain tables set up, and people have purchased space at the tables, right, as a kind of pop-up to sell whatever it is that they have. So for you, Davion, I would just say, think about, right, if you think you would be able to plan something like that. They usually start happening like around October, November, right? That's when I start hearing it, and I start getting information asking, do I want to participate? Some reasons why I'm saying, right, to think about it. Number one, it's a great way to see what people are interested in, right? Because you're right there with them. And so if you have a variety of 5 different t-shirts laid out, and you see the last 5 customers that came to your station went for this same t-shirt, you can know, like, all right, this is pretty popular right now. All right. It's also a really great way to sell old inventory. So say you have a t-shirt design and you bought some and it didn't really sell that well, but you still have 50 of them, right? And you're like, I gotta get rid of these, right? You could sell them and put it at limited edition, right? Get them before they're gone. Once they're sold, no more have been produced. right? Making it like the exclusivity type deal where people,
Mm.
oh, I don't want to miss out. How does that sound?
Yeah, I've been thinking about doing more stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. Something else with a t-shirt, right? That's something just about everybody wears t-shirts. And actually, when I saw t-shirts, I got excited because I've been doing a business boot camp that started about 3 weeks ago. And that's what we're doing in this particular cohort. We are working so that at the end, the participants will be able to start their own t-shirt line. So something that we are have been talking about here lately is just about everybody wears t-shirts. What was the question that I asked? What is it about a t-shirt that you like?
The design.
Okay, the design. Anything else that stands out to you?
The material.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Anything else?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay, so another suggestion that I have for you, are you on any social media platforms?
Yes, pretty much
Okay.
everyone.
Everyone. Okay, is it okay to ask if Davion puts that in the chat so we can make sure we can follow him on all platforms? I know I want to follow you, be able to support you. But something that you might want to do is put a poll out there. Put a poll on your Instagram stories. What do you like in a t-shirt? And leave it open-ended, right? So you can start getting some feedback to see what other people like, right? It may be, asking people what they would pay for a t-shirt, right? What kind of t-shirt would it need to be for you to pay $20 and see what people say? So I'll just give you an example. For me, I like t-shirts that have more of a V-neck versus the rounded crew cut, right? I also like t-shirts where the sleeve is a little bit shorter, right? I don't like for my sleeves to come all the way down here. I like for it to have some sort of cut to it. You know how some of them, like if you just buy a regular t-shirt in Michael's and it just kind of hangs, right? That's not really my jam. So I just say that to say, right, there people like particular things about the t-shirt. I really like t-shirts that have some type of graphic on it or wording. Right? So that just might be a way for you to get more feedback to see what it is people are wearing and what they like. But something else too you could do if you were going to do a pop-up, or you could just do this as a special, have a mystery box available for sale. All right, that's another way, one, for you to sell things that maybe weren't selling so well, right? Because the mystery box, they get what they get and they don't fuss a bit. They're happy for whatever surprise was in the box. And if you wanted to try out something new, you could do that too. So maybe you wanted to start something, I don't know, I'm just making up. In addition to t-shirts, you wanted to start selling socks.
Well, I do books too, because I write books, so I sell those too.
You do book? Okay, here we go, Davion, here we go. So in your mystery box, you might have a theme going on, right? And it might be, I don't know, October, you've dubbed it National Plaid Month. Okay. and you're doing a t-shirt design, right, that has a plaid type of design on it somewhere. Maybe not on the whole t-shirt, but just, you know, a little square or something. And then you include a book, one of the books that you wrote, and then maybe you include, I don't know, a pair of plaid socks. Right? So when they're wearing their plaid t-shirt, they can accessorize with the plaid sock, right? While reading your book, and you say, be sure to tag me when you wear your shirt. What does that sound like to you? Something that might
like a good idea.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, I'm excited to see what you try and how your business grows from here. What type of or what other people do you follow that do t-shirts also? Anyone else?
No.
Okay. That's something else that might be helpful. You identify someone that's kind of in your field. So I know there's one company, it's two gentlemen that started it, and they do some t-shirts, but they are more known, I think, for their for hoodies and hats, and it says support Black colleges. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
No? Okay. So that's somebody you might want to check out. And I just say that because they started just a couple of years ago, and they've really just, they were able to get their merchandise in the hands of some celebrities. Their apparel was included in some of the goodie bags for the NBA All-Star game a couple years ago. Yeah. So that's something else you might want to think of, just looking at what other people are doing and, you know, see how that model might be able to fit into your business, right? So that's something else too that goes well with the t-shirt, right? Is a hat. So just as you're looking to grow and expand, that might be something you're thinking about.
I gotta find somebody who make hats, but the company that make my shirts now, they don't do hats, so
Okay.
that's something I have to look into.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. I appreciate your sharing and your feedback. So those were the things I wanted to make sure I mentioned about a t-shirt brand, and then the shoe design, right? That was the other one. So for the person who is interested in shoe design in terms of purchasing the shoes and then drawing on them, I would suggest ordering or buying like 2 to 5 pair of shoes from different vendors, so you can get a really good idea of what type of shoe is going to work best, right? So what type of shoe is maybe like all cotton, and you can draw better on that, or what type of shoe has more of a leather feel to it, right? Because drawing on that is going to be different than drawing on a type of cotton shoe. But you have a cotton shoe, you want to make sure when you're drawing on it, right, it's not going to bleed your ink and things like that. So that's what I would recommend. If you can pick like 3 to 5 different vendors and then purchase 2 to 5 different shoes from them, right? And so then you can say, okay, this particular vendor, this works well, whether I'm writing in markers, if I'm using markers for my design implement, if I'm using paint, right? If you're using, maybe you want to use spray paint as a medium, right? And then you want to, I suggest you would niche down in terms of the designs that you like, right? So going back to what I was saying, asking the questions, what are you passionate about? What do you already like? If you're into anime, right, then maybe that's your theme, right? You different anime characters. If you are into flowers, right? Then maybe that's your theme. Each shoe has a different flower. One has a rose, one has a daisy, one has a tulip. Okay, but I think doing something like that is really going to help you. One, it's going to help you to keep going, right? If you're creating designs based on something that you like, then that'll help you to keep going with it. And then two, it will help you to kind of build a really good customer base, and even more so, probably a community, right? If they're focused on a particular thing, particular topic, right? Or maybe you're into superheroes, right? Has anybody ever heard of Comic-Con?
Yeah.
Yes, right. And so it's completely devoted to those who love characters. So if you don't love characters, if you're not into comic books, you're not going to have fun at Comic-Con, right? But there is a whole community that really enjoys that. So that's what I would think about. And then have kind of like brand ambassadors for your shoes, for your sneakers, right? So maybe 2 or 3 people that will commit to wearing them, that will commit to taking pictures, right? Posting it on social media, giving you a testimonial for your website, right? Maybe even you could, again, depending on just the lane that you want to go, you could offer services for different groups. I mean by this, if there was a local theater, so this past school year, my daughter was part of the dance group, right? And they did several different dances, and for each set, there were different costumes. So for the one set, they had to wear a white t-shirt, and then the art teacher did this thing on here, and then they had little black skirts with black tights underneath and plain white sneakers, right? So that's what like all the dancers who danced that particular dance did. And then the next dance, they had to wear a black t-shirt, black skirt, tights, and the same sneakers. So if you were able to get into something like that, then you could do the shoe design, right, for them.
Yeah, that's an interesting point to tell them about collabing with another apparel, right? Or event.
Yes.
Because those are interesting points where if it's driven by the event. Definitely amazing tip.
Yes, yes. And that also will open you up to a whole nother audience, right? That you may not have been able to connect with, but whoever's going to be attending that event, now they say, oh, wow, all those dancers have, what's that on their sneakers? I like that, right? Or even for you, Davion, right? The t-shirt. Whether maybe you can get involved and do, I know when we used to have, when we used to meet for our family reunions, right? Some years we would get t-shirts made up, right? That all matched, and you got to pay somebody for that, right? You got to talk about the design. You have to order a lot and a lot of different sizes, because you need it for the adults, you need it for the elders in the family, you want it for the kids, right? So in addition to just you doing your thing, collaborating. And actually, I've been hearing a lot in the business circles that I follow. They're saying collaboration is the new currency, right? It's no longer about, oh, I'm just going to do it all myself. It's just me, myself, and I got this. No, it's about collaboration. It's about getting with someone else and really, really being impactful. Yeah. Any questions or feedback about those
No,
ideas?
no.
No. Okay. The other thing I know was talked about was the hair salon. Do we have time for me to touch on that one a little bit, Ms. Adriana?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay.
She had asked.
Okay, sure. So for a hair salon, this one, I was like, whoo, this will be fun. One way I would recommend is you're making videos all day. If you're doing hair, your camera's always going, right? And if you can, you have it going from several angles. Because showing people what you can do is going to be so much better than description when it comes to hair. All right. So a couple of different things. So let's say you are specializing in natural hair. Okay. So in the morning, when you're doing your hair or you're working on the client's hair, you're showing what your morning routine is. Right. And even though it might seem boring to you, I promise you, as a fellow natural hair person, I want to know. I want to know, how are you able to wake up in the morning and go from bedhead, right, with the hair smashed in on this side, to just curls popping, right? What is it that you're doing? Or maybe on a particular day, you're like, today was a rough hair day, so I'm doing a head wrap. Okay, you're not actually working on your hair, but you're doing something with all this. I want to see. All right, so that's something for someone who was interested in doing a hair salon. You want to be showing everything you're doing. Maybe you braid hair, right? You definitely want to show that. So you have your client, when they first sit in the chair, right, and their hair is just kind of all over the place, and then maybe you blow dry it to straighten it, and then you show that next picture. So you're showing in steps and stages, right? And so that's letting people know how they can get from point A, I feel like my hair is a little bit jacked up, to the end result of I'm feeling fabulous, right? Also showing your technique. So that's something that's very specific about hair. And that would be, even if there are any gentlemen listening, or other women or other young ladies listening that would be interested in barbering, right? Cutting hair as a barber. Everyone has their own technique. So you want to always be showcasing your technique, how you do things. So if you're braiding hair and you braid over the top, you're showing how you braid over the top, right? If you're adding hair, you're showing how you just pull and add hair. Maybe you stop and put on a little product, right? As a barber, you're showing, I'm using this tool, and then I take it off and I put it down, and now I use this tool, and then I take a moment and I brush the hair, and then I go back to using a particular tool, right? Again, these are things that as you doing hair, or as a barber, right, or as a cosmetologist, is natural to you. You're like, it's what I do. But people want to see the steps. They want to see that behind the scenes. They want to see your method. The other thing that I would suggest in terms of what does your establishment offer that is different? All right. So if you have a hair salon and they just come in and it's 4 chairs, and you just come in, you sit in the chair, they put the little cape on you and they get started. Okay, you can kind of get that anywhere. But maybe you come in and you make sure as soon as someone walks in the door, they are greeted. Hello, we are so happy you're here. Right? So even just that initial greeting makes them like, oh, okay, wow. right? And that doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you anything to train your staff that as soon as you hear the door open, someone says, hello, we're glad you're here, right? You might have a process where they come in, that they are able to sign their name in and then have a seat, so they don't have to just come stand at the front desk waiting for someone to talk to them. All right, you have a system set up so when they sign their name in and they click OK, it pops up somewhere back here to alert someone, Susie Smith is here for her appointment. You see what I mean? So even just that initial, when you first walk in the door, you want to be thinking, what can I do to make my place different than any place else? All right, maybe for when they sit in the chair, you have different capes that they can choose from, right? Maybe you have cape that has the G's all over for Gucci. It has the F's all over for Fendi, right? You have a cape that has, I don't know, the LV for Louis Vuitton, right? And they said, ooh, I want that one. So they're already like, first of all, I walked in here. Somebody said they were glad I was here. And now I get to wear this luxury cape while I get my hair done. So before you've done anything to actually touch their hair, you have touched them as a person. You have done something to make them feel valued as a client, as a customer, which is going to help, right? Once they leave and you say, so when would you like to make your next appointment? Well, they're going to want to make it because they're going to want to come back here because they liked how they were treated. And then they like the end result of their hair.
Yeah, that's very important to connect. To
Yes.
connect between the clients and the products or the place. Definitely.
Yes. Mhm. Mhm. Also, paying attention to what your clients like. So typically, and you all can let me know if I'm off here. But when you go into a barber's office, a barber shop rather, it's usually like the TV is on, right? Whereas if you go to a salon for women's hair, sometimes the TV is on, but usually there's a whole bunch of magazines, right? Pay attention to what it is that your clients like, or you can even ask them, right? What is it that you like? Maybe they would like it if you had a crossword puzzle there, crossword puzzle book, right? Or a word search puzzle book. Or maybe you have a separate table and you just have it, again, doesn't have to be a lot, just something on like a TV, what is it called? A TV table, TV stand table type deal. Anyway, and you have a puzzle there, right? And again, I know we're still in a COVID stage, but you have a puzzle. So while they're waiting, they can go over and work on the puzzle. It's like a community puzzle. And little by little, you can see what's coming together. You see what I mean? So just, again, doing something different. Something that makes coming to your establishment different. Maybe you offer them something to drink. As soon as they come in, would you like something to drink? We have bottled water. We have bottled orange juice and bottled apple juice. Now that we are definitely getting into cost for things there, but it's minimal. But again, just that's something making them feel comfortable, letting them know, I appreciate that you came here to spend your time and money with us.
So question that I do have from her, she actually couldn't make it,
Mhm.
but we were going back and forth, and she asked, have you seen the trending of, or would you recommend doing it from home or going to the renting out a chair?
Great question. So if you have a separate space, then I would say do it from home. So the young lady that I go to when I get my hair braided, she has a separate space in her house. So it has a separate entrance, right, around the back, and it has a separate door. So you can go in through the back entrance, and then that's her shop, and there's a bathroom, but then there's a whole just separate door from her house, right? So if you have a situation like that, then I think that's really good because it doesn't have to interfere with your family's lifestyle. Something else to consider, depending on how much capital you have getting started, purchase or rent out space, like a larger space, and then you rent space within there. And one of those chairs is dedicated to you. Does that make sense? So you're renting maybe I'm just throwing numbers out there, a 5,000 square foot, right, kind of event space. And then you just set it up that there are 5 separate spaces and you rent those out to other hairstylists. But you have one space that is dedicated to you. So you have your space and you're making money by renting out the other spaces. So that then now you have 2 businesses, right? Real estate and the hairstyling. Now, if you're not able to do that, I understand if you're not, then I would say renting out your own space, right? If you can find another situation like that where you can go and you have a dedicated space. Yeah, then that's helpful.
No, this is some great information. Great information. And thinking right outside the box, I think that just getting other people's perspective is so important. Especially now that either things are restarting or changing, or there's a new way of doing things. Definitely. I think that I wouldn't be able to say the same thing, 2-3 years ago, would we be able to say the same? I think that that's so important for them to follow and see. And so what we'll do is, I think that that's something that we'll definitely put your podcast information on. We're going to share it on the YouTube channel. And so that way it's also on there, so they can click and see, try to go see where you're at and, see what, other information, because they have to keep learning. I think that's how you started. That's how we should continue saying, you never stop learning.
Right.
We have to continue to innovate, to continue to make money, and also understand that there's failures and there's sometimes it wasn't the right time for that product or that idea or that service, but then all of a sudden it's the right time and that window can close and open. I think that that's something important for everybody to get out of that things. That, I mean, this is what you're making me think. Like, I'm not thinking like entrepreneur. I'm like, all right, let me put that hat on and see what that says. But yeah, such great.
Could I just add one more thing for the hair salon that I thought of?
Yes.
So if you, let's say you're not in a position, right, to start paying someone for space right now, check and see what are the rules in your particular state to see if you can be mobile about it. So I think I mentioned this before, right? For nursing homes, they need someone to do the client's hair. Not all the clients are able to go out, right? Some of them are just like in the nursing home is where they are. You also have a lot more what are called senior communities now, right? For those, I think it's usually like 55 and older, but they're living in a particular community. So that's something else you could, make arrangements if they have some type of space there to go there on certain days, right? To service clients that are there. Also, check out, and I don't know how many of these are still around, but I think there are some. Check out boarding schools. Okay, again, I know there's not probably as many out there, but I do know actually a friend of mine, her son is going to be attending a local boarding school for 11th and 12th grade. And it's at a school actually that's like highly sought after to get into, to be able to do your junior and senior year there. So, if you're a hairstylist or even a barber, right, you make an arrangement with the school that every second and fourth Friday, you're there, you can take appointments. So that would just be another avenue for you to still work your trade, get your practice, make money, develop a clientele if you're not in a position to, put that money out on a regular basis up front.
Definitely. That's thinking, I never even thought about approaching, any school, but it's also needed. Some people just haven't been able to get out there anymore to get their hair done. That's one of the hardest parts of the situation we've been with the pandemic. Just those services weren't available. So just great thoughts and great, just like get your juices thinking. I know that's something that we definitely need to continue having that conversation as our group. Again, trying to be mindful of everybody's time. Is there any other question, you guys, that you have? I'm checking my messages. Just to make sure. And I think you've put a lot of thoughts out there, and a lot of questions have been answered.
Okay, very good.
But anybody else?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, Ms. Bateman, pleasure. You are such a wealth of knowledge. Such a wealth of knowledge. And we're going to make sure that we continue talking about what you have to share to try to get people to go to your area and see your podcast or see other youth, right? Other teens that have ideas so that they can get inspired. So I think that's another part too. You're really connected to kids that are inspiring. And so that definitely will be putting that out there, and I'll be sharing that with you so you have it so you can use it in your tools. So let me stop recording.
Okay.